Hey everybody, welcome to part 24 of Let's Play Breath of Fire 2. When we last left off, Rand's mother has been taken to St. Eva's church, and we're not sure if she was taken against her will or if she went with them of her own volition. Unfortunately, the only way to get to the St. Eva's main church is to fly, which we are currently unable to do. And so we've come home to Windia in an effort to find some transportation. Now I'm going to be quiet. So she was banished because of her black wings. But the banishment wasn't punishment, it was to protect her, because everyone else wanted to have her executed. So this is one of my favorite parts of Breath of Fire 2's story. We get to know about Nina's backstory, as well as, well, her family's backstory too, a little bit. Good character development, especially since she's been one of our first party members. She's been with us for quite a while, but we don't know much about her, and she doesn't know much about her own background either. We got a St. Eva preacher waiting on the king. King has fallen ill. This seems to be happening a lot when St. Eva's involved. But it could be coincidence. Troubled memories. So like I said before, the king sent her to hometown to protect her, to keep her safe, and they haven't been able to see each other since then. I'm not exactly sure how old Nina is, but it's been at least a decade since they've seen each other. And I absolutely love this part too. Preachers pressuring the king to have everyone convert to St. Eva and pray to him. But the king says no, even though he believes in St. Eva. He's not going to push it onto his subjects, which is pretty good of him. I think most other kings in history would disagree with his philosophy, but he really is a good man. And St. Eva Preacher, maybe not so much. He's turned pretty quickly, threatening him. So the king is maybe on his deathbed. He's coughing up a lung. Nina and Gramps are talking about something unknown. But apparently it could be used to save the world. Everybody calls that guy Gramps. At first I thought maybe he really was her grandfather, but I'm pretty sure he would have still been king. And also he kind of looks younger than king. And even the king calls him Gramps, so I guess he's just a friendly old guy who's been with the family for years. So Gramps said he would open the gate. What gate is he talking about? Not that one. There's a few gated off areas in this castle. But he did say the one in the basement. See, it's nice. Her parents love her. They were never ashamed or disappointed of her or hated her or anything like that. They just had to do the right thing, even though it was hard to do. We're just going to check out the castle a little bit. You may recognize this area. Years and years ago, I want to say maybe part 6 or 7 of this Let's Play, we got to see that room for just a second before being kicked out of the castle. No one really has anything too important to say, but they do keep talking about being able to fly and turning into a bird. Maybe there is something there. And the shelf has help ball, and the shelf on the left has another totem if you're into the casino. But enough exploration. We're gonna go ahead and hit this basement that Gramps has been so kind to open. Apparently it's unheard of to go down there. Which I guess is fair because, like, pretty much every other castle we found, there's demons in the basement, and no one really seems bothered by it. The gargoyle is a new enemy. Not much going for him. He's able to use fire breath, which is negligible at this point. And he's also able to use Cure 2 when him or his buddies are hurt. Even Cure 2 is not going to do much, 100 damage. And the Barracuda we've already seen. Thankfully, both the Barracuda and the Gargoyle are extremely weak to wind, as you can see. And you finally got to see Typhoon, too. I've been talking about that for a while. I did level up Nina a little bit on the side, between parts, so that this would be fair. Later on you'll see what I'm talking about, this part. It's pretty much necessary to level up Nina, at least a little bit, if she hasn't been in your main party. Our ultimate goal is to go down those stairs, but we're going to take a quick side trip to get just one treasure. A single treasure that is pretty good, though. I'd say it's worth it. After that random battle, it was just some more Barracudas. I happened to get lucky and they dropped a new piece of equipment. The Tiger Sword. It's a little bit weaker than the Goblin Sword, but it does give you 5 defense. As far as I know, the Tiger Sword can't be bought in any stores, so that's a nice drop. To be totally honest, I think this is probably the first time I've seen the Tiger Sword while playing this game. It's kind of funny that way. So this whole basement area Oh yes, wait, I wanted to show this too. The Barracudas, I'm not sure if it's because we're in a new area and they're actually programmed differently, or if I've just been extremely lucky in the past. But for some reason the Barracudas cast Typhoon quite often against us now. Even though when we were at Namanda and we ran into them, I've fought so many of them and defended for so many turns and I never saw them do anything but attack. So that's something new to look out for, though, from the Barracudas, Typhoon. You can put some hurt on you. Anyway, as I was saying, this sub-basement is a bit of a maze, but really it's simple to figure out. You take the second from the last hallway to the north, and then you just take one trip to the west, like so, and then you just follow the path. I'm not sure why the two castles we've gotten to explore freely, this one and High Fort, both have mazes in the basement, as well as demons and or undead monsters. And nobody minds. On a daily basis, this stuff's happening. I left this fight in as well, just to show the Crodworms are down here too. They don't do anything new or anything, but just so you know what kind of monster types. So besides the Crodworm, the Gargoyle, and the Barracuda, there are only two other monsters to worry about. One you've already seen. One is the new menace. Alright, so now we're climbing all the way back up out of the basement through a little secret passage. Back in the castle, and we get the Storm Ring. And the Storm Ring, as you'll see, is a huge boost in power for Nina. Also, if you use it as an item in battle, it will cast lightning. Not the most powerful spell by any means, but it's a nice free 35 to 40 damage to everybody. And here we have the new enemy, the Royal Guard, and they don't have that many abilities, just attack and run away. However, their attack is very strong. And if they do happen to get us slammed, it's gonna hurt. 41 damage, doesn't sound like much, but you gotta keep in mind that Ryu currently has the best defense by quite a bit. So I recommend, despite how much they hurt, I still recommend taking out the Road Slug, because they're able to cast Sonic Boom, which can hurt your whole party. However, if you have someone near death on your team, I'd say take out the Royal Guard first, and then heal them up. Their bites are strong. Alrighty, and through some fancy editing, I cut out all the backtracking to get back to this set of stairs. And we're going deeper into the basement, and deeper into the basement. Now there's a little cave, alcove, with a single statue that looks important. So Nina has to undergo the trial by herself, and she really is by herself, as you can see. Thankfully they do fully heal her and give her all her AP back, so she's got some defenses. However, as you would expect, putting the mage of a party completely by herself, forcing her to be in the front row at all times, it can end badly. So there are random battles down here, as you'll see. I show one just to prove my point that she is alone and very vulnerable. Thankfully, all the random battles you fight with Nina, it will always be just one monster at a time. I highly recommend if you ever face the Barracudas or Gargoyles, just use Typhoon right away. It'll kill them in one hit, which for the Barracudas is important, because as you saw, if they get an Egg Beater attack, you're pretty much dead on the next turn. Don't worry about your AP, there's There's a lot of random battles, but there's a lot less than there would be normally. If you look at the little monster radar, you can tell that it's really slow. So there's not too much to worry about. And if you ever completely run out of AP and you're struggling to get through, you can talk to the center statue again, and he'll teleport you back out to your buddies, and then you teleport back in, and you'll be fully healed again. Anyway, I completely failed to mention, though, that I did pick up the Wind Robe, which is also a big boost in defense for Nina, and it speeds her up in battle. So she's getting better now. The big turning point for the Wind Robe is the increase in vigor, so she acts faster in battle, which should give her the upper hand against Barracudas. So she's no longer the second to attack. She'll get the first turn, which can greatly help her ability to stay alive. She can heal herself if she needs to. All the statues are telling her to turn back. She's not worthy. She's going to die. Not the kindest statues. Funnily enough, I also completely failed to mention the puzzle part of this area of the moving rocks. They move every time you move, and they move on their own set pattern. It has nothing to do with where you're moving, it's just every time you take a step, they'll take a step in their pre-programmed path. And they're just trying to block you off. Nothing too crazy, just kinda... You can brute force it, really. You can just walk back and forth a couple times till you find an opening. The general rule of thumb is that the most obvious path is usually the wrong one. If it looks clear, by the time you get over there, there'll be a rock blocking your way. Now that we got all the treasures from here, we're going to take this path on the center left. Heal up again. Pretty much after every fight, heal up. Nina can't take 2 attacks without going down. Why is Nina sacrificing herself? Now we find the elite guard. The statues come to life. Again, the Guardian trash-talking her. Doesn't think she can do anything. But Nina will not falter. She is determined. And he tells us to show us that determination. So yes, she gets her own boss fight. And personally, I think the Guardian is very cool looking. I wish he could have showed up more often. Despite the cool look and the name, the Guardian is pretty simple. Just use freeze. Every turn you get, he will go down in literally 2 or 3 turns, which is good, because he is able to cast all of the debilitating spells, like agility down, defense down, power down, and hush, which will block all your spells. And if that happens, the fight can quickly turn in his favor, as you are forced to use physical attacks while he wails on you. Probably triple the strength. But thankfully he has very few hit points, so done and done. We passed the trial. And this is another reason I like this part of the game so much. Nina meets her ancestor, also named Nina. And if you played Breath of Fire 1, you will recognize Nina as the Nina from the first game. So this is as much of a direct connection as you're going to get in this game. She talks about how she fell in love with someone from another tribe, which I, like most people, assumed to mean that she fell in love with the Ryu of the first game, and they got together later. So you get a little history of what happened after the first game. I love it. So Nina gives us her blessing. And so this Nina is now empowered to complete her own quest. And she asks us a single question. And it doesn't matter what you answer, it won't change anything, but I prefer to say yes. Yeah, if you say no, she'll mention something about falling in love is greater than anything else. Something like that. So she doesn't care that she's ruined their tribe by falling in love with a dragon instead of a fellow Windian. And you can see the statues weren't really mean. They were trying to protect her by getting her off this path of destruction that she's on. Path of destruction, that doesn't sound so good. But yes, it would seem to, in order to become this great bird that they keep talking about, you must sacrifice your life for it. And so they're trying to keep Nina from that fate. However, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few in this case. And so Nina's back in the party. And right away make sure you switch the party order. They keep her in the front when she comes back, which, if you're not ready for it, it can make the next random battle a mess. But that's all we gotta do down here. And so, with a quick edit, we're gonna leave this cave and be back in Windia Castle. And that guy still doesn't know what's going on. So now that we have the mark of the bird, we're going to go tell the king we were successful in the trials, and he'll tell us what to do next. So even the king calls him Gramps. Nina stays behind. The king asks her, is she doing all this for him? She says no. She's doing it for the world. And the king's happy. I really like the king of Windia. He's not selfish at all. He doesn't want her to sacrifice herself to save his life. But since it's for the entirety of the world, that is a noble cause. Uh-oh. Everyone's sleeping. Where's Mina been this whole time? What's she doing in our dresser drawer? Nina wakes up in the middle of the night. With all our party members say all ZZZ. Oh no, she took the mark of the wing. This is not good. How come the gate to the ceremony tower is open? There she is, you gotta catch her. So tragic and heroic. So Mina has sacrificed herself and transformed into the great bird. What that means is we are able to freely fly anywhere we want on the map now. You can land any open field at all, there's no limits. So now we are in the island in the center of the ocean, where the main Tatzel's church is. And we're gonna storm that church and get some answers about Rand's mother and the rest of whatever else may be going on. The church is looking pretty shady. Anyway, that will be in part 25. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you then. Have a good one. Later.